pronounced as long E like tea, meat, teacher,
هنا.
reach, and so on. Also, we talked about words with double E, as in tree, three, and so on. Also, with words with EI, like routine, stealing, receipt, and vice versa. Words with IE, as in peace, briefcase, and belief. Also, with some Greek words like Hercules, and with some borrowed words from other languages like karate and karaoke. And the second case was pronouncing letter E as a sound,
بس حاجة في رجلي.
as in get, met, bet, sit, E plus consonant at the end of words. Also, we talked about E plus consonant plus a vowel, like in exit or exit, never, ever, level. Amira, do you want to say something? Amira? Amira, you're raising your hand. Do you want to say something? Or is it by accident? Okay. And also we talked about some words with EA. Well, of course, we have exceptions like the words like words with EA like death, bread, breakfast. We pronounce them as a sound. Also, we talked about the verb read. It can be pronounced as long E as if it is in the present simple. I read a book. And it can be read if it is the past form of the verb. Also, we talked about the third case. Do you remember what was the third case of pronouncing letter E? What was it? Do you remember? Oh my God, you're sleeping, I think.
It's
It's like with words, which is with some words with ER, like, do you remember the example?
Hair.
Her, yeah, that's right.
Church.
Her, person, yeah. Verb, refer, yeah. And with words with EAR, as in our planet.
Earth.
Yeah, earth.
Learn.
What else? Learn, yes.
Early.
Early and search. And with some French words like saboteur, connoisseur, and the last one, Mr. Ashraf, please, because I cannot pronounce it till now.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, I did it. Okay,
Okay,
so let's
excellent.
start.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. So, okay, let's start our presentation for today. Okay, are you ready for today's session? I hope you liked the pronunciation part. I hope you liked it and get benefit from it. Okay, did you like it? Did you find some new about it
Yes.
today? Alhamdulillah.
It's very
Okay.
useful.
Thank you so much. So let's see today's session about what? Okay. No, thank you. So welcome to today's tag. Welcome to Tag 5, of course. Okay. And before starting, I like to start with a quiz with you as usual. So let's play a game to have some fun before we start. What am I? I'm found in the kitchen. You program me to cook food for a certain amount of time. I usually make a ding sound when the food is ready. Do you know what am I?
Stop.
No. You're a little bit nearer or closer. I'm found in the kitchen. You program me to cook food for a certain amount of time. I usually make a ding sound when the food is
Microwave?
ready. Yeah, that's right, a microwave. Yeah, sure, exactly. Yes, perfect, Mai. Thank you. Okay. So today's session, or by the end of the session, inshallah, okay, we will be, inshallah, able to evaluate your technological context and understand what you can and can do. Use classroom management techniques to exploit technology you have access to in your school. Exploitative sites, resources, and technology you and your learners may own. And of course, use the flipped classroom method to further encourage learner autonomy and use of technology. And I'm sure that all of us now, I think, are familiar with the idea of the flipped classroom, which depends on using both technology and the traditional classroom both together to teach our learners. And at the end, encourage learners, okay, encourage learner autonomy and out of classroom learning. So are you ready for today's session? Are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, of course.
So here, let's see together 3 important factors in low resource context. Of course, when we talk about resources, we have 2 kinds. We have low resource contexts, of course, and high resource context. So here are 3 important factors in low resource context. Why should we use them? It's important to consider these factors that can help you and your learners achieve successful learning outcomes. The first factor is, and the most important one, I think, from my point of view as a teacher, is classroom management. Why classroom management is important? Why is it important to have some management over your classroom? Why is it important?
To save the time.
Of course, exactly. Only to save time, or
To get the information quickly and save time.
sure.
And,
So to save both our time and effort, not only
yes.
not only the time and effort of the teacher, but also the time and the effort
Of
of
the
the learner,
students.
yeah,
Yes.
or the children themselves. How? By
By manage
specifying everything,
the classroom.
yes, or give rules, or
Yes.
choose the right style of teaching, or the right learning style for our learners. So if the teacher has a very good classroom management, will it be a teacher-centered or a learner-centered classroom?
The same. The both.
Maybe both of them, according to the case or according to the situation the teacher is trying to focus on inside the classroom. But I think if it is a learner-centered and the teacher is a facilitator and a
Yes.
monitor, it will be, of course, a well-managed managed classroom.
Yes.
Okay, so the first factor is classroom management, which techniques will allow you to exploit the technologies you have access to, of course. The second important factor is your context, which technologies are available to you and your learners, and how can you exploit them. And the number 3, learner autonomy. How will you adapt your teaching style to encourage learner autonomy and out of classroom learning? Okay, before starting, let's discuss something together. Of course, all of us find that our learners are very fond of using technology. So, in your classes, which technological tool you find your learners are really fond of and like it the most? Which technological tool do your learners like and you really use with them, or try to encourage your learners to use outside the classroom? Can you tell me, please? Do you use technology with your learners first? Do you use technology with your learners?
Yes. Some songs from my mobile, but I use songs and بس يعني ما استعملناش حاجة تانية.
Okay,
بالنسبة
okay,
for the project there is no projector.
okay, but yes, Amira, do you use something outside the
they
classroom?
like to, yes, they like to listen to the music, sorry, the songs when I teach prime 1 and 2 and 3.
Okay, so do you communicate with them outside the classroom, Amira?
لا والله.
Okay, what about the others? Don't you have a WhatsApp group or a Facebook group or whatever, or any kinds of these technological tools?
No.
Have you
Yes,
tried any
sometimes
of
I
them?
have a WhatsApp group.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you find your learners? Do they like to have a WhatsApp group to communicate
Yes,
together?
very much. Yes, very much.
Sure. Yeah. So Amira, if you try to have a WhatsApp group with your learners, I think inshallah, if you try it, they will like it, especially if they find that you are in touch with them all the time during the day, in the evening, maybe at night sometimes, if they want to ask about something about their homework or about any issue. Okay, so the easiest and the simplest way of using technology is using WhatsApp groups to communicate with them. This is the most and the easiest way to communicate with your learners. And of course, we have with the Minister of Education, we have dealt with Edmodo sometimes. Maybe not all of us as teachers or students are familiar with, but we have to try it and send something on it, okay? So let's complete our session and find out together, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So before starting classroom management while using technology, okay, here these are 5 factors can determine how well you can use the technology available in your classroom. So Amira, if you are trying to use some songs on your mobile, so this is a way of using technology, by the way. And we have to we have to mention that a very important idea, which is using technology is not necessarily to use high technology to be a professional at using Kahoot or using Word Wall and using Mentimeter or a lot of applications, technological applications. What we want to focus on or to stress on is that if you use a very simple and easy technological tool to communicate with your learners, and they are familiar with and they can deal with, you are a really successful and professional teacher. And of course, besides this, you have to try step by step, of course, not suddenly a lot of applications, but as teachers and as we are living in a revolutionary age of technology, we have to try from time to time to learn about another new technological tool and encourage our learners to use and apply to be to be able to deal with other their friends in different parts of the world. So it's important to use an easy application, maybe one at the beginning if they don't have internet access, and you have to encourage them, and you as a teacher, you have to try more than an application or a platform to update yourself as a teacher and update your learners as well to be familiar with technology, okay? So here are 5 factors which can determine how well you can use the technology available in your classroom. And this is important to have available technology in your classroom, even if you are using your mobile, if you're using a computer, if you are using the multimedia room, if you have a multimedia room in your school or a computer lab. So this is very important to have any available technological tool in your classes or in your schools. So here you can find that group work and task preparation is really different and wonderful than before if you have an available technology in your school or classroom. Also, time management. You'll find that it saves your time and effort because, as you mentioned, Amira, the children like to listen to songs and they become quiet and silent to listen to the song several times because it's different and not a random or a traditional way, which let them get bored and sleepy, of course. Also, classroom layout, the result will be, of course, wonderful. Class size, of course, affects using technology. If you have a large number of learners, you want to keep them silent or to keep them active with you. Also, whole class viewing of a computer screen, of course. If you have only a computer in the classroom and the screen is very small, of course, all these factors will affect using technology inside your classroom, okay? So group work and task preparation is very important. If you are using a technological tool in your classroom, of course, you have to prepare it at home first on your computer or laptop or whatever or mobile. And you have to determine the time you're going to use technology inside the classroom, of course. And of course, you have to train your learners to use it inside the classroom and of course, respect the time and the teacher, okay? So let's see something together. Here are some tips. So I want you to describe whether these tips about group work and task preparation are good or bad advice. So here we have some pieces of advice or we have some tips and we're gonna discuss together. Are these tips good or bad for you as a teacher? For example, number 1, split your class into groups and assign each group the same task as they wait their turn to use the computer. Is it good or bad? And please tell me why. And of course, you have, you're free to choose your answer or to use to say your opinion. Is it good or bad? And please give us reason. Tell us why is it good or why is it bad? So number 1 again. Is it good or bad to split your class into groups and assign each group the same task as they wait their turn to use the computer? Is it good or bad?
Hmm.
Do you know the meaning of a split? To divide your
I think that yes, to
Divided.
divide the class. I
Yeah.
think when I divide the class into groups, it's better to give each group a different task. Then I let them share their results together. And it's good also to make the same task, but it's better to make different tasks in the same class, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
So it's, yeah, that's really great. So it's good if we give them different tasks and they share their ideas together to talk about different ideas. I agree with you. And sometimes if they are maybe early age or lower levels, we can give them the same task and they can exchange their ideas together as a beginning, and after that we can give them different tasks, of course. So you agree that it's good, not bad for the learners, right? You agree it's a good idea? Okay. What about the second idea? Make sure that all groups understand exactly what they have to do.
Good.
Clear instructions. Of course, it's good
Uh-huh.
to be able to do the task, sure. Number 3, make sure you scaffold the various group tasks well. Do you know the meaning of a scaffold? You
No.
To build
clarify and, yeah, of course, and explain the various group tasks well. Providing model answers can be useful. So is it good or bad?
yes, it's very good and useful
But be careful that
to make
does the teacher have
the task
to
as a
say
pyramid.
until, yeah, okay. Does the
Yeah.
teacher have to tell the students everything or every single step before doing the task?
No, he may give them some clarifications, helps them with the language.
Yeah. So
But not
do you agree
everything.
with her? Do you agree with
Eh,
my, right? My, do you agree that the teacher
Yes.
can give them only just some points or some hints or some clarifications and let them discover together how they will complete or do the task? Do you
Yes.
agree with her? Okay. So, but I think again, it depends on the level and the age of the learners, especially if they are grade 1, for example, the teacher can give clear instruction in every single step before doing the task. But if they are higher levels of students, for example, grade 4 or 5, the teacher can just guide them because of course it will be collaborative or cooperative work. So it depends on the age and the level of students once more again. Number 4, only set up different resources for learners to access during the lesson if they can move around. Is it good or bad?
I think it's good.
Okay, sure. It's good to set up different resources for learners to access. And of course, if they can move around, for sure, because if they cannot move or it's difficult, it will be only a waste of time. The fifth point is become more of a facilitator of learning rather than the person who delivers knowledge in the classroom. So is it good or bad to be a facilitator, not giving all the information to the students?
Yes, it's good.
Yes, good, Ms. Firdaus.
Yeah, sure. It's good because the students will be independent and it will be, of course, a learner-centered classroom depending on themselves. sharing ideas, and of course, learning from each other's, and instead of only delivering from the teacher and are only just the vessels who are waiting silent or sleeping or feeling bored during the lesson, of course. Okay. Here is creative learning more than group work. Okay. Before starting this point, I'm going to show you a video about the common mistakes we use during classroom management. And of course, all the time we talk about how can we effectively manage our classes and the best ways to manage our classes. But I found this video, I think you'll like it, inshallah. Some common mistakes we do during managing our classes. So I hope you like it, inshallah. So are you ready for a video? Are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I hope you like it, inshallah. Let's watch it
Inshallah.
together and discuss it together, of course. And tell me when you can hear the sound. Okay. Here is the video. Bismillah. Yes, here it is. Here are some mistakes. Okay.
Sometimes, misbehavior or inattention isn't what it seems. For many students, it stems from boredom or restlessness, seeking attention from peers, behavioral disorders, or struggling with issues at home. And some misbehavior is just a healthy part of a child's social and emotional development. Here are 6 common classroom management mistakes and what the research suggests you should do instead. A strategy that works for one student may backfire for another. Look for patterns in the behavior that might reveal the underlying reasons, and consider checking in with the student to see if the source of the problem can be identified.
So what is the first mistake we do while trying to manage our classes? What was the first mistake?
Miss
Let's try.
Firdaus, Miss
Yes,
Firdaus,
yes, sure.
Miss Samia, with you, Miss Samia.
Yes, Miss Samia, welcome, Miss
Okay,
Samia. Nice to see you.
I think Miss Firdaus, thank you. I think Miss Firdaus, the first step that the teacher does not show his rules first of all for the class. Number 1.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Yes.
I think also number 2, the role of the teacher is to divide the class into more than one group
Yeah,
to listen
exactly.
to show his rules for the students.
Yeah.
Also, the teacher does not show what is the strategy will depend on or what is the strategy will use it for the specific exercise.
Yeah. You
I
nailed
think
it,
so.
Miss Samia. Yes, yes, you nailed it, Miss Samia. And this is what was the first mistake in the video. Sometimes we think that to when the children make noise, this is bad, or this is not managing our classes, but of course not. There is something we call healthy noise. It's really healthy to have our learners talk together, make some noise sometimes if they are working in groups, of course, or working together. So it's healthy to have some noise. We call it healthy noise. And one way you use with some groups of learners is not the same with the other groups, especially if we are working with individual differences. Some of them are visual, some of them are audio, some of them are spatial, and so on. So we have to vary our ways and methods when dealing with our learners, and this is the first mistake. We do that. We do not allow our students to make noise. And the second mistake is that we only use one activity or one learning style with all the learners. It's the same like if you are asking an elephant to swim in the sea as a fish, or asking the fish to climb the tree as a monkey. So here it's not fair at all to use only one learning style with all the learners, or if you do not allow them to make some noise. And even as teachers or adults, we cannot stop talking for more than 10 minutes if we are in a meeting For example, we cannot we cannot prevent our tongues, of course, and our mouth from speaking or gossiping or talking together, side talks and so on. So it's really healthy to have some noise inside our classes and use different learning styles with different students, of course. So let's move to the second mistake. We do, of course, we don't mean to do it with our learners, but we do, of course, without putting into mind. Okay, let's see it.
A 2018 study, academic frustration explained student misbehavior 20% of the time. Students either didn't understand the assignment or it was too difficult, and misbehavior was an outlet for their disappointment.
So, what is the second mistake we all fall in? We focus more on the misbehavior of the students rather than the good behavior they do inside the classroom.
Yes.
It's, yeah,
Sometimes.
if they do a lot of good things, sometimes we're blind, we do not see them. But if they do only one mistake, especially the fast finishers or the excellent students, if they have a mistake sometimes, oh, انت يا ابني يطلع منك كده يا حبيبي، ما ينفعش
أنا يا
كده.
أبلة.
So they so they feel really frustrated and disappointed to complete the task, and this is really important. Sometimes we have to ignore or avoid stressing or focusing on the misbehavior of some students if they are really good students or they are well behavior ones, not to feel frustrated or disappointed, and this is a very important issue. Okay,
Yes.
let's see the
Yes.
third point. Yeah, the third mistake we all fall in.
You don't have to fix all misbehavior. In fact, trying to do so can actually make things worse in the long run. Negative attention can make students feel marginalized, leading to more behavioral issues later on. Instead, highlight positive conduct like finishing work on time or efficiently transitioning between activities. Data walls, behavior charts, and other public displays of misbehavior don't improve student conduct, according to a 2019 study. Instead of calling students out publicly, approach them privately and encourage them to reflect on the wrongdoing, think about its source, and take responsibility for addressing it.
So what
You can't
was the
expect kids
fourth
to
mistake?
Four mistakes to...
Punishing
I
them
think, Ms.
yes,
Firdaus,
yes, yes.
I
Miss
think
Samia.
I think we don't focus on their mistakes or our students' mistakes,
Yes.
but
Not to-
we should encourage them.
Yes. Oh yeah. So we don't have to punish them in public if they do if they make a mistake inside the classroom, or if they misbehave. Of course, we have to advise them privately not to feel frustrated or ashamed of doing something. So they will keep silent all around the year because they feel they do something wrong. Okay, so it's very important. Yeah, to deal with their good behavior. Of course, focus on their good behavior in public, and of course to advise them privately if they do something wrong. Okay.
Okay.
work with you without putting in the emotional labor. Demanding compliance will often result in kids rebelling, testing boundaries, or engaging in power struggles. Try proactive strategies like positive greetings at the door, co-creating classroom norms, and building and maintaining strong relationships. Are all students being treated equally and fairly? Teachers often give Black students fewer warnings to correct their misbehavior, for example, when compared to their white peers. School systems must address broader discipline policies, but within classrooms, teachers can start by reflecting on their own implicit biases. They can also make it a practice to regularly review their disciplinary measures to see if there are areas for improvement.
So what was the last mistake we most of us do sometimes?
I think there is important to use the positive greeting for the students.
Yeah, for all of them. Sometimes
all.
we cuddle the girls. الله عليكم البنات الحلوين
Oh.
المؤدبين الشطار، والولاد دول أعوذ بالله. So it's really
Yes.
important to deal with all the learners in the same way. not to deal
Mhm.
with the girls in a way which is different from dealing with the boys, okay? So all of these things I think are very important when we try to manage our classes, okay?
Mm.
So here, let's complete today's session. I hope you like it, inshallah. So cooperative learning more than group work. Here, which is more important to have students which work in groups or groups of students which work creatively? Which is more important?
Group of works or what?
To do creatively. So, يعني here, this is cooperative learning more than group work. Which is more important? To let our students or our learners work in groups, or to let the groups of students who are working together work cooperatively and creatively? Which
Of
is
course,
more
cooperatively and creativity.
sure? So,
Mm.
how can we encourage our learners to work cooperatively? Can you think of some strategies or ways to encourage our learners to work cooperatively together?
I think we can let them choose each other to make their group.
Yeah,
And
this is the point. Yes.
both the brilliant students in each group, and like the good one in reading, the good one in speaking in each group, um, to make creative groups.
Yes, Amira.
So
So you mean to
they
distribute the good one, the brilliant or the
the
clever
brilliant
students
one, yes.
among the whole groups
Uh-huh.
to choose the suitable student for the suitable task.
Mm.
Those who like reading, you ask them to read. Those who like writing, you ask
Yes.
them to write, and so on. Yeah. So
Yes.
distributing the roles among the learners. So I agree with you. So if you want your learners to work cooperatively and well managed, of course, first of all, we have to set the rules or the norms from the very beginning. The second point is to give them clear instructions, of course, before starting. And as Amira has just mentioned, to distribute the different roles according to their preferences and abilities, and try to put or to choose different groups of students with different categories of students, to put a clever one in each group, a reader in each group, a timer, a speaker, an artist who can draw, who can, and so on. So this is really important. So let's see together. Here are group and task preparation. Since it won't be possible for all your learners to work on a single computer at the same time, you'll have to split your class into groups, of course. So as you mentioned, Amira, it's a good idea to assign different but related tasks to them as they wait their turn to use the computer. It's important that all groups understand exactly what they have to do. Make sure you scaffold, of course. In addition, different tasks, you can set up a variety of resource centers for the groups to rotate around before it's their turn to use the computer. Yes. So it's very important if you want your students to work cooperatively, to set the rules, to give them clear instructions, to tell them about how they will use the technology inside the classroom. So if you have only one computer and one screen in your classes and they are not able to look at it, all the class is not able to look carefully at the board or the screen and see or read what's written on, you can choose one of each group to go to the computer or to go to the screen to read and go back to his group to answer a question, for example, or to tell them what was this part of the video about, or to tell them the words of the song to write down in their notebooks to sing together, and so on. Okay, so here, okay, group work and preparation to work on a single computer at the same time. You have to split them into groups and choose one to go and come. Okay. Another point, important point, split your class into groups and of course different but related tasks. So as I think Rihab or Hanan said at the beginning, or Mai, to give them different tasks but related tasks. We mean
Yes.
related to the same lesson.
The same
For
lesson.
example, some of them can read, some of them can write, some of them can draw, and so on. So different tasks, but related to the same lesson or the same task. Okay. Also, here, scaffold the various group to tell them about the instructions. You preferred writing tasks, give them different tasks, of course. Group a sample text similar, we can give them samples of answers. Okay. Also prepare a short report to give them feedback at the end. Also prepare a selection report, of course, and a variety of resource centers. And rotate around. The teacher can walk around the classroom to tell them or to see how is it going and how are the children or the learners working together. Also set up the activity and the groups, of course. So all the things you have just mentioned are really right, and I agree with all of them. Here
Yes.
are your answers, as you mentioned before. Split your class into groups and assign each group the same task. It's bad, as you have mentioned, because we can give them different tasks related to the same topic. Make sure that all groups understand exactly what they have to do. That's good. So all your answers are really right, my dear wonderful friends. Here is another point, which is time management, class layout, class size, and the viewing. So can you tell me, which is better, to work with a small number of students or a large number of students? And how can class management perfect? Is it with a large number of students or few number of students? Which is perfect or more effective? A small class of students or a large group of or a larger class of students?
Larger class.
How can it be more effective, Amira? So
Because there is a lot of students in the same class. There is different, we call it, there is the low one, there is the bright one, there is the creative one, there is the reading like spoken one. So the large class, I can find a lot of different students.
yeah, you mean, Amira?
Ms. Firdaus?
Yes,
So I can work with them.
yes. So you mean if it's
Ms.
a larger
Firdaus?
class? Yes, Miss Samia. Yes.
معلش Ms. Firdaus, excuse me, as for Amira,
Yes.
I respect the point of her
Okay,
view.
Miss Samia, just please wait a minute. Just okay. Let her complete her idea, and after that we're gonna discuss it. Okay.
Okay.
Just to complete her idea. Okay, Miss Samia. Forgive me.
Thank you.
Yes. Have you finished, Amira?
I mean that you can find different kind of students. You know, you understand